Right then, here we go. Welcome to the first ever JACKOCAST podcast. It's the latest venture in the JACKOCAR world, and I will say I will credit them early on, heavily influenced by the TGP series. Fresh off the plane from Daytona, the Daytona 500 this year, so I'm a little bit jet lagged. Hopefully, my guest today is not jet lagged. Um, I've never done this, he's never done this, so we'll see how we get along. With me for the first ever episode is, let's say, one of our more controversial figures that we've had in Jacko Car. He has, I think he's 21st in points all time, 53 race starts, 5 wins, 21 top 10s, 13 top 5s, 205 laps led, and 3 Driver of the Day awards. He's also your Season 6 Chase champion and 2020 All-Star Race champion. It is the one and only, currently serving a season ban, Corey Dolton. Corey, welcome to JACKOCAST. How
Thank
are
you for
you?
having me. It's a pleasure, mate. It's been a
Good to
pleasure.
hear. Good to hear. Um, I think, not that we've done any episodes yet, but I've got a funny feeling this is going to be a very interesting one for anybody that does listen to these, mainly because of your controversial nature, which I'm sure we'll come on to. So, first of all, uh, just talk to me. How did you end up in Jacko Car to begin with?
So I've known Jacko since TGP days, TGP2, and we've gone ever since. I think it was around 2017. We was in a group chat called the Catering Crew. Brings back good memories that.
Yeah, good
And
times.
yeah, like me and Jacko just become really close, really good friends, talking on a daily basis. And we was in ILR together. We'd be in parties when we were racing. And obviously ILR for some reason just stopped and Jacko took over at Jacko Car, like created it from base up. And yeah, to begin with, I did show interest, but I understand the reasons as to why I wasn't originally allowed to first race, because I was a bit too fast. I was playing the game all day. And then yeah, I got the shout saying I'm allowed to race, and the rest is history, as you say.
Lots of history for sure. You alluded to being too fast. Obviously, the original idea of Jacko Car back in the early days was for it to be a place for the ILR 8 and ILR 7 drivers, basically the slower end of the field, somewhere so that they could still race on a Thursday night whilst ILR was away, because we thought it was all coming back and it never quite materialised. So that's why we're
Yeah.
still here now. So because of that, you've been a day one driver as a reserve, Corey, but you didn't get your first win until the 43rd race,
That was
which
Austria, no?
which was Austria, which was
Yeah.
also the final race of the regular season, and you come from 20th in points that
Yeah.
season to advance to the playoffs, of which
Yeah.
you actually end up making the championship five. You got all the way through the playoffs, so well done on that. Um, the question about that race that everyone has on their minds is: did Jamie Wright let you win that race?
As far as I'm concerned, no. We did speak about it before, and he did say he would try everything in his power. But yeah, I think I started P10 that race. Something happened to Khalifa off the start. I think it was Jamie involved with him, and the safety car come out early doors, and I just picked my way through the field, and I was battling Arnold for a bit um, until Riley got involved and decided to ignore every blue flag possible and make it a misery, and that's when Jamie managed to closed the gap a little bit more and managed to pass me on track. But Jamie had a penalty anyway, and I was on fresher tyres, softer tyres, so I don't think he let me win, because if I wanted to, I think I could have pulled out about a 5 second gap to him, but there was no point risking it. I had it all in hand, had the playoffs there staring me in the face, so I just thought, just play it simple. Even if I finished second on track, I still would have won, so no, I don't think he did, to be honest. He'd probably say he will, but no.
Say if Jamie would have claimed that race win, he would actually be on 20 all time as we speak. I think you're in the same boat as me. He's winning far too many, I personally believe. But he's managed to master the system of Jacko Car. I was going to you brought it up very nicely there. Riley in that race.
Yeah.
Why did he? Because obviously in JACKOCAR, drivers are entitled to hold up other drivers under blue flag conditions, but he was very, very aggressive. I do remember. Why do you think that was? Was there a bit of beef there, or
Um,
did he just do it
no,
because he
I
could?
think I think I know what caused it. I remember my first full-time race in Australia at Turn 3. I just remember sending it down the inside, and he left the room. The room was there, but we made a little bit of contact, and we had a bit of back and forth after the race in DMs. And in Austria, it was
It's not
exactly the
like you.
same. No, not at all. I was chasing Arnold for the win, and obviously Arnold's very quick, and if you give him a chance, he's going to take every chance he's got. You know what I mean? So he managed to pass Riley, who I think was a pit stop down at the time. Um, and yeah, he left the gap as well at turn 4, and I've gone for it. And to be fair, it was similar to like the Senna Prost incident at Japan. He didn't see me coming. He's turned in too early, and we've collided, and he's had a bit of end plate damage. And since then, yeah, he lost his head, and then I think I caught him up while he was lapped. So I think I went to lap him lap 30 odd, and I think I spent about 4 laps behind him until he was trying too hard and he span out. So yeah, I know why, but I've got nothing against Riley as a person, but some of his on-track antics at time didn't agree with,
Yeah,
especially in other leagues as well. Like he had a reputation for himself, and I think ultimately that's why like you removed him now. I think it just got all a bit too much in the end as well because he'd be defending himself in the chat when some of the stuff he'd done was
you
inexcusable.
you bounced my wing off. I believe was one of the favourite phrases that he used to have. But no, Riley left of his own accord in the
Oh,
end.
did
But
he? Okay.
he was certainly a character. Let's say he was up there. Um, so not necessarily a rivalry was Riley, but
No.
um, what have I got before I move on to that next bit? Yeah. Do you have or have you had any rivalries over the years, over the 6 seasons of Jacko Car now? And what's been your favourite? Have you had good moments with the rivals, or have it has been absolutely bitter? What's your take on? What's your side of it?
Um, well, look at it, I've had three. Three, yeah. Two of them still race now. You've got Iceman and you've got Jake. Um, to be honest, I don't enjoy racing against Jake, if I'm completely honest. But, it is what it is. Can't expect everything to go your way every single time. Like, we've had a bit of argy-bargy every now and then. And he always plays the victim, so do I. So, like, we clash on that front.
Yeah,
Um, Iceman's a fair driver. He's improved a lot over the years. Like he's improved big time. I remember when I won the TGP1 title, he raced that season, and he'll even admit he was nowhere near me, like in terms of pace, and he's just grew ever since. And it's good to see. It's a bit annoying at times when I'm first out of the pit box. I think I set a good lap time. He's last out, and he pipped me by like a tenth or something. I'm just there like, you know what I mean? But my favourite rivalry, hand on heart, would be Khalifa. I
okay.
think, just because there was respect on and off track. But yeah,
So
at
the
time,
Khalifa one, that's a pure racing rivalry, is it? There's
yeah,
no
yeah,
bad blood there like there is potentially with the other two.
no, Khalifa, we got on and off track. We used to practice together at times. Obviously, we're both in ERT, and yeah, like we'd go karting. I'd spend my whole time talking to Khalifa at the karting events. We got on really well, but the main, most of me, should I say, wanted to beat him because I remember I think it's like the first 3 races in season 3 he won. And going into it, everyone was like, "Oh, Corey's gonna win this. He's gonna do this and that," and it weren't clicking for me. So like yeah, it was frustrating at times, but being on track with Khalifa was fun, and Arnold as well. To be fair, them two are my two like favourite rivalries, just because it was firm but fair. Gave respect where it was due on and off track,
And
whereas
then
some of the others like the respect element weren't there.
and what do you think's brought that lack of respect on? Let us focus on Jake and Ben or
I
Iceman
wouldn't Iceman not so much.
particularly.
I haven't agreed with the main thing he's done to me, which happened recently, which I won't go into detail. I think you can gather what that was, Jacko after America. Um, but Catchman, like, I don't know, he just seems like everything needs to be done instantly. Like, lap one, certain tracks, like he would just rear end me or whatever, and I'd be like, I'd go do the same, and I'd have the rule book thrown at me, and like he'd plead his innocent, putting the blame on me for when he's hit me. I don't agree with that. Um, at Spa as well, when I had a good chance of winning the race in a must-win race for me, um,
Yeah.
he turned in on me, and there was more than enough room, and he's just turned in on me. I've gone for the move, I've committed, and if he didn't turn in like he did, I would have got the move done and could have won the race because I was pretty fast that day. But yeah, it's just on off track stuff as well. Like I didn't agree with it, and I'm quite a hothead at times, so my emotions get the better of me. I say stuff I don't mean in the moment, and so does
Yeah.
he. And yeah, it just stemmed from that really. At times I think he got a bit out of hand, um, which I apologise for, but you know, at least I made it interesting.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of your comments are referring back to last season where we had 12 different race winners in a row, something I don't think's ever been done before in
Yeah,
esports. And there were plenty of moments where maybe you could have won a second race, or Jake could have won two in a row, Ben could have won three in a row, but it didn't quite happen, such as the way the season panned out. And I think a part of that was the entertainment element, sorry, that you gave us, because it was very entertaining. I must admit, a big fan of that.
yeah,
Looking back, I think season six probably, as a spectator spectacle, is the best we've had.
yeah.
Um,
I agree.
so I'm actually quite looking forward to getting Jake and Ben and Khalifa and Arnold in as well at some point and seeing what they make of the situation. See if they say the same thing about you. Um, but moving on, I've got written down here key points of your JACKOCAR career. So, is that the what is it? The worst record in? I think you had like, I think 18 finishes in about 30 odd starts, or a bit more than that.
Yeah.
Is that a key point, or would you focus more on Chase Champion last season where you overcome a 25-point deficit? Is it the All Star race? Is it your five race wins? What's been the key, your favourite bit of your career in JACKOCAR?
My favourite, that's a good question. I'd personally say, I would say the chase win last season, just because how bad I was doing. I think I didn't score a point in like the first 8, 9 races or something like that. It was absolutely atrocious. Um, yeah, and being 25 points down after Mexico, um, and just what happened at Mexico with all the safety cars, I thought it's not going to happen because I knew that was a must-win race, especially when Esty retired. Um, but it didn't go my way. I'd say it now, I was the fastest by a mile that day. But the rules are the rules. And then yeah, going into Canada on my Joker, I knew SD had a race ban. I knew I had to take full advantage of it, and I'd say that's probably been my best drive in Jacko car by a country mile Canada last season. Um, yeah, and then USA I think was the last race of the playoff rounds. I think last season.
Yeah, you finished seventh in Austin.
Yeah, I just knew that was just a case of keeping my head, keeping my nose clean because I knew, with all due respect, what Team Speed would have done. They would have tried to put the ball in Yora's court, with their on-track antics. But I got through all of that on very old tyres. I think the oldest on the grid at one point, and yeah, got to Championship 5, but weren't meant to be.
A bit like season three. So quickly go back to season three. Can you confirm, was it a rage quit or was it a will disconnection? What happened in that season three championship five?
You know what? That week, like I'm an apprentice. I was at college in Milton Keynes, and that I usually finish at 6 o'clock on a Friday. So I messaged them. I was like, I've got to go at 3 o'clock on Thursday because I knew I had a race and I couldn't miss the race. So I wasn't missing it full stop.
Yeah.
And I come home, done a little bit of practice with Jamie. I invalidated my qualifying lap, and in qualifying, in the practice sessions, I was stupidly fast. And from the back in the 100% race, I thought it could be possible. Just got to make my way through the traffic, which I'd done. Khalifa was right behind me at all times. And then I can't remember what lap it was. I
It
was
was it
using
was
the con-
very early on in the race. I know that
yeah,
first
I think it was
10
something
laps. I
about
think.
I think yeah. Um, I was on controller. I weren't even on the wheel,
Oh,
and my game is just frozen. And I've looked on the stream, and it's saying I'm at another part of the track, and it's kicked me off. It's kicked me offline. And I've tried rejoining. I've rejoined in the pits. The VSC was out, and I've left the pit lane. It's given me a drive through, and like, I just lost my head. So I turned my PlayStation off, admitted defeat, went downstairs and watched Liverpool beat Man United.
because
True
that's
story.
slightly made up for it then in your mind. But
Yeah,
um,
a little bit. I'd rather have won the championship, but yeah, I was on the controller and my internet and game just died on me.
very unfortunate. Obviously, then 3 seasons later, coming back to season 6. So sorry to jump around like that, but coming back to season 6, you're in the Championship 5 again.
Yeah,
However, you feel that the world is against you with people like Jake and Ben, Team Speed as a whole, perhaps. Um,
yeah,
that was our best season, our best Championship 5 build up.
yeah.
How were you feeling going into that race? Because again, JACKOCAR Championship 5, you're all level on points, and all 5 of you that are there deserve to win the title. So, what was the thoughts going into last season, and why didn't it quite work out for you?
Um, I was optimistic, um, but most of me, if you want me to be brutally honest, I was pissed off.
Yep,
Just due to the fact I didn't agree with what happened off track. I didn't agree with the penalty, which you're aware of. I made sure you were aware. I said things that I
that was
didn't
the
mean.
qualifying ban, wasn't it, for those
Yes,
listening?
yes,
Yeah,
yes. Qualifying ban. I didn't agree with that. Just because, like I said earlier on, the incident with Ben just after the USA race, he was in my DMs, giving me shit if you like. I
yeah.
bite back and I get a penalty, and he done that on purpose, 100%. Because looking at the footage, everyone, even he knew I was not at fault for what happened, and he just done it to get in my head. I don't know if it was an element of he's finally picked up form, he's looking fast. I'm gonna do everything I can just to try and you know ruin his chances a little bit, but it worked. I tried my hardest in Miami. I thought I had a good race. Um, but yeah,
What were
like I
you?
took
You were third in that race, weren't you? Let me just
I
check back and confirm.
finished
Second, actually.
second. Yeah, started P16 right at the back, and I was practicing like I've never practiced before. I mean, I weren't at work because of my knee operation, so I'd get out of bed, have a shower and all that, have breakfast or whatever, and yeah, I would just be focused on. I'd say from like the Sunday, I was just focused on, improving lap time, finding pace, you know, where I'm good at on the track, where I'm strong, where I need to improve. Uh, the strategy, I went over that a few times because I had my own race engineer for the first ever time.
Yeah.
And I think we slightly fucked up, to be honest, by pitting lap one. I wanted to stay out a little bit longer, just so I could clear some of the traffic with the
And
soft
who was
tyres.
your engineer quickly? It,
Badgerman,
okay, yeah.
yeah,
We know
and
Badgeman.
yeah, I would rather have gone long, but he said we agreed. To be fair, like I come to an agreement. I'd listen to him. Um, but yeah, the safety car then come out, and I was just stuck behind Risky all race long. Ben was just pulling the gap. I'm guessing that was on purpose as well, holding everyone up. But they're teammates, so I wouldn't expect nothing less. He done nothing wrong within the rule book, but I think the outcome would have been different if Risky wasn't in the way, because I had a load of pace on me, which I showed in the latter stages when I closed down a 13-second gap to Ben, and I bring it down to like 7.5 seconds at one point. But
Yeah.
obviously you had Kieran on the fresh wets, which again we fucked up on that. We should have pit for wets as well, but on the radar it said it was drying up again, so we just managed to. Well, we tried to hang it out there, and that's why I pitted for fresh inters again at the end. But I got bombarded by team speed drivers on the restart, so didn't go to plan. You live and you learn, though, don't you? Really, so
Absolutely. You still come away from that championship P2 overall, which is your best ever finish in Jacko Car. You mentioned about the qualifying ban, which was for that particular race with then an extended penalty for obviously the let's say the season that you had in chat and the way you were speaking to other people, which we get is another issue. We won't go into that. Um,
Hmm.
it's only I don't know if you're aware of this, but it's only a ban for competitive racing. So you're still welcome back as a reserve when there's a gap. I mean, there's a race tonight and there's no spaces, believe it or not, which is nice. But going into season 8, the ban is lifted. Are you coming
Yeah.
back for another shot at a championship 5 and a title ultimately? Can you make that happen?
Yeah, 100%. I'll be back. Can I do it? I don't know. Um, because I don't know if you're all aware, Cora's got a girlfriend now, so I can't practice as much. Finally managed to bag someone. But yeah, I can't practice as much, but I will be back. Um, and like my dad last season, you know of my dad Jacko.
Yeah, I know.
He started watching me from Japan, and like he's really into it, like big time. Like he'd have on the TV downstairs with my mum just watching me race. And half the time, like I'd have a bad result, he'd go to bed and he'd just come in and be like, "You're fucking shit" or whatever. So I knew like a part of me just wants to do it just to prove him wrong because I know I'm good enough.
Yeah,
And without sounding big-headed, I know people are gonna think I'm blowing smoke out my own ass or whatnot, but I think if you put all the best drivers to ever race in JACKOCAR in their absolute prime, I think I wipe the floor with all of them. So I'm coming back with a point to prove.
even faster than say Khalifa in his prime.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I was actually looking at the stats the other day. Khalifa here has only ever raced in 36 events, and he still sits 10th all time in points. So all the drivers above him have done at least 26 races more. So what Khalifa achieved in such a short space of time, 11 wins, a championship, 31 top 10s from 36 starts, is very impressive. So you're saying that you could beat anybody, all
Yeah,
82 drivers to have ever competed in
yes,
JACKOCAR.
100%. And my prime doesn't stem from JACKOCAR. Now, if we're talking about absolute prime, my ILR days when I was racing against Michael, who now drives the
Ah,
Williams in
yes.
esports, I used to, just be as quick as him. And there's a few others. Onyx, who races for Haas in F1 esports, I was faster than him. There was a point where I was stupidly fast, and like, that's why I understood when you said, Corey, you can't race in your first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I took it as a compliment, so if you were to say select 20 drivers at the absolute best from their time of racing, no matter what game, I would wipe the floor with all of them. And that's just me being honest. Like, I know it sounds big-headed, but it's the truth. So I want to come
Uh,
back, and I do want a title to my name in JACKOCAR. Had one in
that's-
TGP. I've got two from TGP. I want one in JACKOCAR now, and I won't stop racing until I do get it. So
you best hope
yeah,
the league keeps going then. But no, in these podcasts, what we're looking for is absolute brutal honesty. So I respect that. Um, hopefully, when you come back in the summer, it'll be on F1 2023. Hopefully, you can achieve that because I'm sure there'll be a space full time for you in Cup
yeah.
Series. Um, I'm aware of the time, and you've got a couple of things to do. So just a couple more quick questions. We've covered your best moment. What's your absolute worst moment in Jacko Car? And it could be on or off track.
What happened after USA last season
Yeah,
by a country mile? Yeah, without doubt. Just due to the fact, um, obviously, Jacko, I'm a footballer. That's what I do. I
yeah,
was pretty good at it. And obviously that got taken away from me since my knee injury in January. Had my operation in October, and my next favourite hobby was racing, like especially on F1, especially in Jacko car. I used to have a load of fun, and it got to a point where the fun turned into frustration, turned into anger, just because at times there was groups of people, purposely trying to wind me up. When they succeeded, I'd snap back. And when I snapped back, they didn't like it. And the way I look at it, if you don't want no retaliation from me, you don't poke me in the first place. But after USA, like it was such a high point just because of what I achieved from being so low down in the standings to getting to where I wanted to be, in the Championship 5. And it instantly just, it didn't matter no more because of what happened.
Yeah.
Like I was pissed off. Even after the race, I was pissed off for about 2 weeks. Just because I knew, like, I can't go to work. I'm at home all day. I've put in so much effort into practicing, you know, and it got taken away from me, I feel. But I can see why at the same time. Like, there's earlier on in the season, there were a few times when I said things out of line, which I apologise for, and I even come clean to you, Jacko, about a month or two ago, and I said, like, I know it's going to sound cliche and whatnot, but
Yeah.
mentally my head weren't straight, I weren't thinking, um, and like me and Gareth had a nice chat just after Miami. We
Is
both
that
come
is that
clean.
nice as in nice or nice as in sarcastic?
No, it was a nice chat. Like we spoke about the issues and why it happened. We both come clean about what's gone in our lives and how we're feeling now. And yeah, like, there's no bad blood there anymore because I think he was the main one. He used to get under my skin like so badly.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was an absolute joke. And like he knew what he was doing. And like at times some of the comments were funny. There were other comments where I thought, you know what? Like I would use his face as a punching bag at times. It pissed me off that much. That's just me
Yeah.
being honest. But yeah, like we come clean and Gareth's a good lad. Deep down he's got a good heart, good driver, good commentator. So he means good. But yeah,
He
we're all good now.
likes to have a joke, does our Gareth.
Yeah, very
But
sarcastic as well.
yes, so hopefully, um, the time away makes you realise that, and then that you can then come back in season 8 and do the business. Try and expand on those 5 all-time wins. Which, by the way, 5 wins all time, Mr. Dalton, puts you, um, well, for the benefit of the conversation, it actually puts you ninth. But you could
Does
argue
the
also 10 and 11th, which is on par with Jamie Bromley and
does the all-time?
arch
I'm
nemesis Ben Shaw.
sure. I'm sure it'll get a few more this season. But does the way I look at it, Ben Shaw doesn't have a All-Star Racer champion next to his name, but I do. So we won't go into that.
Of course, that was
£50 from that as well.
yeah. That won't cost me money. That did in 2020. Okay, so yeah, hopefully we can get you back for season 8, and finally, if you've still got the time, uh, your expectations and plans for the future. So this can be Jacko Car related, it can be esports league related, or life in general. If you're
I've got about
feeling
another
like that,
10 minutes to be honest, mate. If you
that's my final question anyway.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but we
So
can afterwards. You can say anything else you want to that we haven't covered. I'll let you do that.
yeah, so esports related. To be honest, no other league interests me anymore. Like, so the main goal in that is to come back and win a title, or two, or three. Who knows? For however long it may continue.
I'll,
JACKOCAR as
I'll,
a
I'll
league.
stop you right there.
Oh, here we go.
Nobody has successfully defended a JACKOCAR title yet.
So yeah, as long as I'm, you know, not banned or whatever, and the league's still going, I want to race. And when I race, I want to win. Like, I want to win the title. Like, I just don't want to. I don't want to beat everyone. I want to embarrass them. That's the way I look at it now, because I'm coming back with a point to prove.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Off track, I've got a few goals. If you want to listen to them, I've got a few.
go on.
Um, Obviously, the main one for me is to get back playing football. I'm 4 months into recovery now from my operation. Doing better than ever. Happier than ever as well. Especially since my girlfriend's come along. Like, she's improved my life massively. Um, yeah, getting back to playing football, just being happy in general. Because I'll be honest, my mental health was shot when I was racing in Jacko car back end of last year. Like, I weren't well. Even you said, Jacko, to me, this isn't the Corey I know, and I weren't the same person. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, I weren't, but I'm happier now. I feel more myself. So yeah, hopefully get back playing football in July time. I think I'm scheduled for. Uh, So yeah, July time, get back playing properly in September, and then life will be bliss. I'll go back to work on Monday after 4 months, which I'm dreading. But yeah, um,
And that's still
just
at BMW Mini, is it?
yeah, as a paint
Yeah.
sprayer, yeah, yeah. Just being happy and get back playing football. To be honest, then my main two goals off track.
Oh, good stuff. That is. Yeah, it definitely at the time. I can be honest about this. It wasn't the Corey I know. I mean, I spent the whole day with you at the British Grand Prix just a couple weeks or months before that season started, and the deterioration over that time was so noticeable that I
Yeah,
don't think you realised it yourself. So on the back of that, I hope that you see why the season ban was implemented, and certainly ever since season 6 ended, you have become more like the original old Corey that we know and love, let's say. Or maybe love might be a bit strong, but the original
no,
Corey that we know.
everyone loves Corey. I'm a fan favourite. Even Thomas, we had a bit of bad blood, and he come clean. He was supporting me. I was like,
He was, yes, that good old Thomas
he
Nevitt.
was, he
Yeah,
was. I'm there like I'm the fan favourite. I'm the one the people want to see race. So you got to get
even
me
the
back for
haters
next
love him.
season, Jacko. Yeah, they hate me because they hate me. That's the way I look at it.
Well, that's got to be the only excuse for it, hasn't it?
But no,
Uh,
like, yeah, even to the people who do hate me, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry for pissing you off or whatnot. No bad blood from my side anymore. I've looked back at what I've done and what I've said, how I've drove at times. Like Jacko said, that weren't the real Corey. Um, my mental health deteriorated from August time. Had girl issues, couldn't play football, was in pain every single day, had a major operation coming up, couldn't work, couldn't earn money. So, and even after my operation, like, still had girl issues, couldn't see my friends. I was in bed for 6 weeks. Like,
awful. That is awful.
yeah, I was racing in pain, but I was in absolute agony. And I think you picked up on it at Monza at the first chicane. That was like 3 days after my operation. I thought, I'm doing it because I want to win. And the throttle trace, like, I could not get on the throttle. Honestly, like, I was in absolute agony where it was my right knee. So yeah, like, but I should have won that race as well, but I got taken out. But yeah, we won't go into it.
Yeah.
But no,
No.
like, yeah, sorry to everyone I've pissed off. At times I've taken it too far. I have crossed the line. But when I do come back, you're going to see the Corey that cracks jokes in a bantery way. Uh, gets under
Whilst
people's
being
skin.
that's everyone's favourite. Whilst being ruthless on track at the same time, I hope, because let's say even though all your problems last season were off track, um, on track it was still massively entertaining for everyone. So we are missing that slight edge at the moment because again your two nemesis Jake and Ben, whenever they're close to each other on track, one of them will pit or do something. We're not getting the battles from them, so we need to throw a Corey in there so that they're fighting more often. I think that would be
I'll be
good.
back to provide the goods. Don't worry.
Good stuff. Um, if we've still got a couple of minutes left, being the league owner and obviously having this American influence on the league, my favourite thing about the entire league is Championship 5 night. We've already touched upon you've been in two of them. What is your favourite bit about Championship 5 night as a driver and also as a spectator?
The build-up is the best bit by a country mile. Like, I've never seen an esports league, go that far in terms of preparation, and delivery in itself. Especially last season, even though I weren't invited. But yeah, it's a good watch. It provides tension. Um, but yeah,
Does it
it,
make you nervous watching that? Think like before a race, thinking, "Oh shit, this is me. All this build up is about me
no,
and
you
these
know
four
what?
other guys." Am I? Go on.
No, I thrive off that. I love it. Like, I love it when the attention's on me. That's when I perform best. as like must-win races. I've gone and won season 3 Austria, Canada last season.
Yep.
You know, like I thrive off of that. So when the attention's on me, I'm just there like I embrace it and I'm like, you know, just get on with what I've got to do. But the only part I don't like is the choice of music for like the live concerts. I put my own earphones in and just chilled. Literally,
It's got to be somewhat popular amongst the majority, I'm afraid, because I'll tell the people now, if we had your music choices in there as the live music, I don't think we'd have any viewers at all.
no one would be watching. No, correct.
No, but everything else is good. Yeah, we like that.
Yeah, yeah, everything else is spot on. Like I'll be watching. I've tried to keep tabs this season when it comes to Championship 5. Now I'll be watching with a close eye.
If you'll be watching until Dua Lipa comes on again.
Oh, no, to be fair, I did watch
Oh,
her because she is good to look at. But
yeah, 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 yeah.
but I've got a girlfriend now, so I won't be doing
You
that
see, you
anymore.
can't look at her anyway.
No,
Never mind.
correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything else quickly to add, Mr. Dalton, before we round off this first episode of JackoCast?
Yeah. Since I'm not racing this season, it's made me realise how much I miss it. So I
Good.
just want to say thank you to yourself, Jacko, and to Owen as well for providing, good commentary on race nights. And thank you to everyone I've raced against, apart from Jake. But yeah,
I can't wait to
um,
get Jake in there.
yeah, like thank you to everyone, because as far as I'm concerned, if you weren't there or if they weren't there, there'd be no Jacko car. And I think it's the most entertaining league to watch and to race in by a country mile. Um, and I find it interesting that since I'm not racing no more, the new pit stop rules come in, and I'm there like, you know what? If I was racing this season, I would fancy my chances big time. But shit happens, life goes on, you live and you learn. But yeah, I just can't wait to come back racing, to be honest. But yeah, thank you to everyone, and I'm sorry to those who I've pissed off it weren't on purpose.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. I'll pay you later for saying that at the end. Um, that is then Corey Dolton then for the first episode of JackoCast. I'm not sure when it's going to go up. There is a Cup Series race today, so probably not today, but we'll try and get up as soon as possible so that you can listen back and everyone else can listen to you. Brutally honest, it's what we wanted. Very good way to start this new series. So, thank you, Corey, for coming in,
Thank you
and
for having me.
hopefully, or I say hopefully, we will. I'm sure see you back in season 8.
100%.
Cool, good stuff. Right then, goodbye. Thank you.